From reality shows to sitcoms, occasionally a TV show has helped deliver real-world justice. It took some detective work, but we uncovered the most shocking episodes of TV that landed the stars or subjects behind bars.
Go ahead and take a seat.
In 1978, while searching for attractive and charismatic men to participate in the long-running reality dating competition series The Dating Game, producers found 35-year-old Rodney Alcala, an unassuming Texas transplant. Today, one might consider that hiring anyone for such an intimate television appearance without first running a background check would be a significant risk to the studio, not to mention the safety of everyone involved with the making of the show.
Bachelor number one is a successful photographer who got his start when his father found him in the dark room at the age of 13, fully developed.
And yet, when Alcala showed up for his episode of The Dating Game, he played the role of desirable bachelor so well that he was chosen by the female contestant to be her date.
I'm called the Banana, and I look really good.
Behind the scenes, however, Alcala was described by a fellow bachelor as creepy, obnoxious, and trying to intimidate.
This creep comes up and he puts his face practically in my face and he says, "I always get the girl."
The date between Alcala and the contestant never happened, a rejection that criminal profiler Pat Brown believes could have driven him to kill. Again, that is. Had producers run a background check on Alcala, they would have found his name attached to some heinous crimes, including rape and the murders of 2 women. He was even on the FBI's 10 most wanted list before being cast in The Dating Game. Alcala killed at least 3 more people after his episode aired, and was finally arrested in July 1979. He died in 2021, having spent the rest of his life on and off death row. A film based on The Dating Game episode, titled Woman of the Hour, directed by and starring Anna Kendrick, is coming to Netflix in 2024. It's August 23rd, 2000. On a small Malaysian island, California whitewater rafting guide Kelly Wigglesworth and Richard Hatch, a small business owner from Rhode Island, are just 7 votes away from winning the first season of the game show that would change the reality competition genre for good. After much anticipation, host Jeff Probst pulls out a tie-breaking vote, revealing Hatch as the first ever winner of Survivor.
The winner of the first Survivor competition is Rich.
Hatch's victory was witnessed by nearly 52 million people, including some folks from the US Internal Revenue Service. The $1 million cash prize was undoubtedly exciting for Hatch, so exciting that he failed to pay taxes on it. He was convicted of tax evasion in 2006, after which he served 51 months in prison. However, according to recent reports, Hatch allegedly has yet to resolve his now $3.3 million tax bill. Representing himself in a lawsuit levied by the federal government for the unpaid taxes, he claims that his portrayal on Survivor as, quote, an often naked and apologetically gay atheist has created bias against him.
We drowned witches, and witches don't even exist. Let me take it back to this. It's a witch hunt.
In June 2024, Hatch filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit. Rather than sending its subject to jail, one episode of Larry David's HBO comedy Curb Your Enthusiasm actually saves someone falsely accused of murder.
It's a strange universe out there. Maybe Larry's just tied into it more than we know he is.
For the season 4 episode, The Carpool Lane, in which Larry's character invites a sex worker to an LA Dodgers game in order to use the carpool lane, the production filmed the Dodger Stadium sequences during a real game. In attendance that day was Juan Catalan, who was later arrested for allegedly killing 16-year-old Martha Puebla in what appeared to be a gang-related execution.
Homicide detectives Martin Pina and Jose Rodriguez were so certain Juan was the killer, they didn't bother doing their job.
Catalan protested his innocence, but couldn't prove his alibi, that he'd been attending a Dodgers game with his 6-year-old daughter when the murder took place. Miraculously, however, he remembered that Curb actor Bob Einstein was sitting near him that day.
Please, God, I kept praying, please be on that tape.
When his lawyer contacted HBO, they had Catalan on tape. The case was immediately dismissed, preventing the real killers from escaping justice. For the death-defying captains of Discovery's Deadliest Catch, the off-season has never been much of a vacation. For other characters on the show, however, the downtime can give them space to relax, reconnect with family, or in at least one case, lead a double life as a bank robber.
Idle hands that workshop of the devil. We've had way too much time off.
Between the years of 2007 and 2009, Joshua Tell Warner, with the help of his accomplice Garrett Wade Rice, held up 3 Oregon banks, evading capture and making out with thousands of dollars from each robbery. Warner and Rice might have quietly enjoyed their ill-gotten gains as long as they didn't draw too much attention to themselves, like for example by joining the cast of one of the most popular TV shows in America. But that's exactly what Warner did in 2010, when he joins the Deadliest catch crew in the show's 5th season. After Warner's TV appearances helped law enforcement identify him as one of the bank robbers, Deputy District Attorney Chris Perosa told the Oregonian, "I don't think it was a particularly brilliant move on his part." At the age of 23, he was sentenced to 9.5 years in prison. On June 29, 2011, 27-year-old Macon, Georgia native Lauren Giddings was reported missing, having just graduated from Mercy University School of Law. Giddings was assumed to be studying for her upcoming bar exam, but that didn't explain why she suddenly stopped responding to texts or returning phone calls. Her remains were discovered in a dumpster the following day. There were no apparent witnesses to the murder that could point police toward a suspect, but it didn't take long for a suspect to instead unwittingly point toward himself. On June 30th, local Fox and ABC News affiliate WGXA filmed an interview with Giddings' neighbor and former classmate Stephen McDaniel.
Lauren was my neighbor. We're just trying to find out where she is at this point. I mean, no one has seen her since Saturday.
At first, McDaniel seems calm and concerned, expressing confusion due to Giddings' lack of enemies and the fact that her apartment showed no signs of forced entry. His tone shifts, however, when the interviewer unknowingly reveals that the body had been found.
I think that's where they had recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
The word body quite literally staggers McDaniels, causing him to awkwardly walk away and sit down. After this damning TV appearance, it didn't take long for investigators to hone in on McDaniel. In 2014, he confessed to entering Giddings' home with a master key and killing her. Dr. Phil McGraw is a controversial figure to say the least. However, there's one story of his work leading to real-world justice. In 2012, 25-year-old Timothy Dean Cruz appeared on an episode of Dr. Phil called Broken Bones, Broken Hearts, and Broken Engagements, alongside his girlfriend, Brittany Roberts.
I would definitely call Tim a ticking time bomb.
Or like a landmine.
The episode features a candid discussion of Cruz's abusive treatment of Roberts, during which he admits to choking, punching, and kicking her. In May the following year, Roberts brought the episode to authorities in Edmond, Oklahoma, who helped her organize a recorded phone call with Cruz, wherein he confirmed that everything he said on the show was the truth.
I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. I'm trying to keep you out of the penitentiary.
Cruz was arrested and charged with domestic abuse, as it immediately cemented its status as one of the best true crime documentaries ever released. You're likely aware of the infamous ending to HBO's The Jinx, The Life and Deaths of Robert Durst, in which the disgraced real estate magnate retreats to a restroom and, on a hot mic, seemingly admits to 2 of the most disturbing unsolved crimes of the 20th century.
What the hell did I do? Kill them all, of course.
But it wasn't Durst's baffling confession that mattered most in the series' Season 1 finale. It was the interview that took place just before. Over the course of filming, director Andrew Jarecki and his crew discovered a handwritten note by Durst. The note contained nearly identical text to a separate note police believed to have been written by the person who killed Susan Berman, Durst's longtime friend and confidant. When confronted with the 2 notes side by side, Durst found them to be so similar that not even he could tell which was written by him and which was assumed to have been written by the murderer.
The writing looks similar and the spelling is the same, so I can see the conclusion the cops would draw.
Ahead of the season finale, Jarecki gave the footage and evidence to police. Durst was arrested and convicted of Berman's murder in 2021. Just months into his life sentence, Durst died of cardiac arrest. During production of the home improvement series, The Vanilla Ice Project for the DIY Network, Robert Van Winkle, aka Vanilla Ice, reportedly told crew members working on a renovation project for one house to go to an adjacent property and transport several items back to his own home in Lake Worth, Florida. This included furniture, bicycles, and a pool heater, all of which Van Winkle said he considered to be trash up for the taking. He also claimed he had intentions to purchase the property on which he found the items, implying that gave him some sort of right to take them. In fact, there was no official agreement for Van Winkle to buy the house. Van Winkle was arrested and jailed, eventually accepting a plea deal in the case. Shortly after Valentine's Day 2016, former Florida Gators team captain Earl Tony Joyner called the police to say he'd just found his 26-year-old girlfriend, Hazel Obando, dead in their Fort Myers, Florida apartment. According to reports compiled by People, authorities found his initial 911 call to be bizarrely apologetic and took unsettling statements from Joyner and Obando's young children during interviews. Despite this, Joyner wasn't charged until 2019, the same year the Oxygen true crime series Cold Justice investigated the murder.
People are still around, alive, they have their memories, and they're motivated to help. You don't find that in all cold cases.
According to detectives, the series' involvement gave them time they otherwise wouldn't have had to work a cold case, during which they made breakthroughs which ultimately led to Joyner's arrest and conviction. Sadly, not even the best episodes of Unsolved Mysteries lead directly to justice, but there are rare cases when renewed attention creates an opportunity to right past wrongs. That happened with the case of Kayla Umbahan, a 9-year-old girl who was kidnapped by her mother, Heather, in 2017. Ryan Iskerga, Umbahan's father, was later granted full custody of Kayla after a judge found Heather to be an unsuitable custodial guardian. A store employee in Asheville, North Carolina, was able to identify Kayla in 2023, thanks to an episode of Unsolved Mysteries they watched on Netflix.
I don't know that we can quantify the value of that initial caller.
The images of Kayla and Heather Umbahan were included at the end of season 16, episode 9, titled Abducted by a Parent, including an aged-up picture of Kayla as she might look now. The store employee notified a co-worker who contacted authorities. Heather turned herself in shortly afterward. As seedy as some true crime shows might be, the case of Kayla Umbahan goes to show that getting victim stories out is crucial to helping solve crimes and bring justice.